Today, we're going to get into something that can push any parent right to the edge. You know, that constant frustration, the confusion, maybe even feeling betrayed by your own kid. But what if we've been getting it all wrong? What if the real story is something else entirely? Sound familiar? This one hurts. You ask a simple question about something you know just happened, and the answer you get is just not true. It feels so intentional, right? Like pure defiance. Or hey, maybe this is the one that's on a loop in your house. You lay out the rule, you explain the consequence, they cross the line, they get the consequence, and then boom. The very next day, it's like Groundhog Day, the exact same behavior. It is absolutely maddening. It feels like they just don't care. And then there's this one. Ugh, that feeling that your child is always playing chess while you're playing checkers. They're working an angle, saying just the right thing to get what they want or get out of trouble. It feels like you're in a constant power struggle. Believe me, these labels are heavy. They're exhausting to live with. Okay, so let's just hit pause for a second. Take those labels, liar, defiant, manipulative, and just set them aside. Because the research we're diving into today asks us to look right past the behavior and go straight to the brain. And that is where a totally different picture starts to take shape. So let's talk about the brain-based truth. We're going to shift from these painful labels to what's actually going on. So that first one, he lies. What if it isn't a lie at all? What if it's a glitch in memory? Picture this, a glass gets broken. You walk in 2 minutes later and ask, did you do that? For a brain that struggles with short-term memory, that information might already be gone. The no you hear isn't an act of deception. It's an honest-to-goodness report from a memory that's, well, it's just a blank slate. And what about he doesn't learn from his mistakes? This often comes down to a brain-based difficulty in connecting cause and effect. For most of us, I did this, so that happened is a straight line. It's an easy connection. But for a brain that's wired differently, those are just two totally separate events floating in time. The consequence doesn't work, because that mental bridge between the action and the outcome was just never built. And finally, that manipulative label. So often, this is actually a sign of really literal, concrete thinking. You know, you say, don't you use that tone with me, and they immediately whisper the exact same sassy words back. It feels like they're mocking you, right? But to a literal thinker, they did exactly what you asked. They changed the tone. They're not trying to outsmart you. They're just processing your words in the most direct, black and white way possible. This all leads us to a completely new way of looking at this, a new thesis for understanding. It's about being wired, not bad. So what's the big idea here? It's that these things that drive us crazy, they aren't character flaws. They're simply the outward signs of a brain that works differently. And all of this really just boils down to one simple, but honestly life-changing idea. Our kids, your kids, they aren't bad. They're just wired differently. And once you truly accept that, everything changes. The mission is no longer, how do I fix my kid? Instead, it becomes, how do I support this amazing, differently wired kid so they can thrive? So where do we go from here? How do we take this new understanding and actually put it into action? Well, it really comes down to a simple two-step process. Step 1, we have to stop judging. The next time you feel that heat rising, that frustration, you consciously replace a label like liar with a thought like, this is a struggle, not a choice. And step 2, we start learning. We get curious. We become a detective of our own kid's brain so we can find tools that actually support their unique wiring instead of constantly fighting against it. So I'll just leave you with this question. The very next time you have a tough interaction, what if you could swap that judgment for curiosity? What if you truly looked at your child and thought, you're not bad, you're just wired differently? How could that one tiny shift change absolutely everything? For you and for them.